Welcome to the show. The government is shut down. You all know that I find this to be just this endless loop of attention seeking behaviors and hurting Americans for no real reason for a mechanism that's optional. There's no rule that says the government has to shut down. There's no rule that says this is how governments must be funded. And if a budget is not agreed to, the government shuts down. This is something that is done by political choice. It started with Reagan during the 80s. I explained a little bit about it yesterday. And so where I kind of find myself is number one, obviously, as a political show, if the government is shut down, I have to address it. On the other hand, as I said yesterday, I hate participating in this political game that is only bad for people. It's never good for anyone out there in the world when the government shuts down. And it's also not good for anyone out there in the world when media coverage becomes about the who met with whom and did they cancel the meeting or did they do it and why won't they vote for a clean resolution. I think the only people that win are the opportunist elected officials. This includes Democrats and Republicans, although for different reasons and different circumstances, depending on who's in power. But at the same time, I do have to address it. And so what I'm going to try to do is really focus in on the political consequences. But I want to restate, not that people who listen to the show wouldn't know by now, I want to restate that this is a completely optional thing. It's a dog and pony show, but it is not a meaningless one in the sense that people do get hurt when the government shuts down. Now, there are people already feeling the pain, and that's really my focus. 750,000 federal workers furloughed. Some might be fired. That's another thing Donald Trump is trying to do, which we'll address later on today, which is create firing lists. Trump claims that during a shutdown, he has more power to lay off or fire federal workers. Legal experts say no, he doesn't. But when has the law ever gotten in the way of what Donald Trump wants to do? Government services are stalled. Trump is bragging that he is going to use this opportunity to make irreversible cuts to programs that Democratic elected officials care about and that Americans of all political stripes depend upon. Let me focus maybe on the most important or salient aspect of this from a political standpoint. With government shutdowns, who you blame, you as if you are an American, right? I mean, I know we have 20% of our audience is outside the United States, but what is the blame going to do with regard to how people vote? And what Donald Trump may not want you to remember is that when Barack Obama was president, Donald Trump said, when the government shuts down, all that matters is who is the president. People blame the president. People remember who was president at the time. These are Donald Trump's words. This is from Fox and Friends with a much younger looking Steve Doocy and Brian Kilmeade. This is not Ainsley Earhart. There was a different host at the time. I don't remember who this was. And here is Donald Trump's view on this.
You know, the interesting thing is in 25 years and 50 years and 100 years from now, when the government is, when they talk about the government shutdown, they're going to be talking about the president of the United States. Who was the president at that time? Mm-hmm. They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate, who's running things in Washington. They're going to be talking about during the Obama administration. Sure. It was a disaster. So guys like Boehner, who is in there working hard, and he's got one of the truly hard jobs of the world, they're not going to be really discussing him. They're going to be discussing one person. So I really think the pressure is on the president.
Well, that is very interesting because by Donald Trump's own logic, this one's on him. It's not even his first. This is not Trump's first shutdown as president. This is a record that should be embarrassing for anybody. But Trump is treating it like yet another opportunity just to settle political scores. And he's mocking Democrats. He's using, racist AI cartoons where Hakeem Jeffries is styled with a Mexican sombrero and a fake mustache. And it's all whacked while millions of Americans face higher healthcare costs. Federal workers wonder, okay, I'm furloughed, but am I even going to have my job? And so this is a self-imposed problem that we do this shutdown dog and pony show, but it also has extraordinarily real consequences. When what is it? Half the country can't afford an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing or putting it on a credit card. And then some people are going to have checks delayed. Offices are closed. Health services are slowing down. National parks are forced into chaos. And all of it is, by Trump's own admission when Obama was president, it is all the responsibility and the fault of the president. So when Trump points fingers at Democrats, just go to what Donald Trump said before: the president owns the shutdown. And that means that right now, Donald Trump owns the economic pain. He owns the confusion. He owns the chaos. It's on him that he's not meeting and figuring nothing out. The question is whether voters will hold him accountable. And to be perfectly frank, I don't know that in November of 2026, assuming this is the final shutdown before the midterms, I don't know if it will be. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know if voters are going to hold Trump and Republicans accountable 14 months from now. Actually, I'm sorry, 13 months from now, when we vote again in the midterms. The most terrifying aspect of this, other than the human pain and suffering, the economic pain and suffering, the uncertainty, people saying, if I get a flat tire, I've got to put it on my credit card, and now I'm furloughed, and now Trump is looking to fire me. Putting that aside, I don't know that voters are actually going to hold those deserving of blame accountable. And we failed an IQ test as a nation. I'm so sorry. I know it's offensive. We failed an IQ test as a nation when, as a country, we elected Donald Trump not once but twice. And now the question is, are we going to hold the right people accountable?